how Queso have developed. I think a lot of people called their draft predictable in the Origin series beforehand. We'll see if things have changed things up. That is a ban against Memorize. Sorry, no, Memorize ban. That's Team Queso that's actually banning it. It's actually banning against Grizzly Q. Yeah.
Used it in the first game to great effect. Absolutely creating all of the openings that they required there. The Ziggs coming through. It's kind of been. Let's see who can stay as 100% ban throughout this one. Ziggs at the moment is keeping that record, 100% ban rate.
I think especially versus Team Queso, you might see a Fiora ban as well. I think Fiora makes sense against Team Queso. Would not be surprised to see that as a second ban. There is a lot, again, another one of these very strong top laners coming out. Baron laners, rather. The very strong Baron laners. And I think Fiora is a specialist for Team Queso. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see Unicorns would love to take that off the board.
100% ban record as well for Senna. We just saw how powerful Ari can be. And I think he just reminded everyone, saying, you know what, we used to ban that for the last few months. We should probably do that again.
Versus specific players. Yeah. And I think Queso also another one of those teams that's got a great mid lane that plays Ari, so it makes sense in that regard. I love this ban. I think Sneeland relies and sort of sits heavily on this Galio, so I love the Galio takeaway from Unicorns 11. And the Akali,
I mean, they've taken away, with Rakan and Galio both going away, it's removed the effective entrance that they had into every fight.
I almost would love to see Team Queso first pick Fiora, because you know that Unicorns in Love might want to pick up the Gragas for Cold Star, and that's a really, really good matchup for Team Queso if they take it.
Well, we'll see. Where do they go with that first choice? Of course, we've seen obviously that it has snuck through in the bans there, so Camille will be first picked.
That isn't 100% for Baron lane though. That has got that flexibility to go to jungle, and Andre does play it in the jungle a decent amount, so would not be surprised to see Andre pick up the Camille in the jungle.
Lulu first pick. Okay, so they're keeping their options open at the moment. That's keeping very much their hands close to their chests, or the phones, as the case is. I think the players are feeling a little bit chilly. I'm in a nice temperature right now, but we don't have obviously the controls in front of us, so you know we don't have to use the thumbs,
when you are have to be that so precise with your hands. Though, I mean, League players use it for their hands in warm-ups.
Hand warmers all the time.
Exactly, so it's normal. We're going to see Ibu picking up the Kai'Sa. It is a huge pickup for him. Very, very strong Kai'Sa player. We know how strong Kai'Sa is on this current patch. The Gragas comes through. Interesting. Acolyte picking up the Gragas. I was maybe expecting to see that go over to Unicorns of Love for Cold Star.
Yeah.
However, don't write this off as being a support pick for Queso, because Memorize does play Gragas support, and actually over the last Origin series we saw him play a decent amount of Gragas support too.
I mean, we were assuming that Gragas may well be in the jungle, but we forgot about the Fiora. Not Fiora. No,
Olaf. Zaya, you're trying to say Zaya?
Zaya.
Yeah, you're trying to say Zaya, aren't you?
I was like, Fiora's not been banned. I was like, wait, did I just trip myself up?
I was watching your face, you were going through the mental process of the Fiora. That's not Fiora.
I was like, that's not Fiora. That is definitely not Fiora. What did you say?
That is, Zaya comes through.
Diana!
And the Diana, so that will be Gragas support for Memorized. Denies it from Cold Star. Diana mid, Andre, I think, with Camille jungle, and it's going to be Riven top for Acolyte with the Braum coming through finally for Unicorns of Love. Aggressive comp. Very, very much like I pick a target, that target dies. And so that's very scary for Twisted Fate.
That is a lot of health. Let's get a game underway. So here we go, game number 3 of the day, 10 to be played out. Team Queso up against Unicorns of Love, Queso in the blue, and let's see if we get any early aggression. We saw some switcheroos going around in the last one. I don't mean Jinx.
You're seeing it in this one as well. It's a 4-man mid strategy from Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, I'll go it in.
They're going for a very event. We have, by the way, Cold Star playing Lulu Baron lane.
Andre, incoming, Andre. Oh, he has not read into this at all. The question is, can they get the stun down? There's the slow, gets the flash in, but it will be a first blood, and they give it across to Zaku.
This is a very, very aggressive strategy coming up from Unicorns of Love here. Obviously, they are losing out on a lot of experience right now. They're
Lulu Cold Star. I didn't read that.
Lulu on Cold Star. Memorize and Ibu are on the bot side of the map here. Cold Star was holding that bot lane wave to ensure that it didn't get pushed to tower, so Zaku and Grizzly Q can get back into the lane relatively easily here. It's up to Memorize and Ibu to try and punish this. But Cold Star, being a Lulu, does not care about experience that much. He's there to facilitate Phaeton. He's there to facilitate Zaku. That was a very smart play from Unicorns of Love. The way that you try to punish this is you now need to get Andre into the top side of the map and just start diving Cold Star.
They're bringing some very advanced strategies, I would say, to this tournament already. Is this compared to what we've seen them doing throughout the monthlies. You know, I guess it's play against what you can in the monthlies, and then now they're here in the finals. They are bringing it all out on the table, and it does, of course, mean that Coldstar will be around about a level behind for the majority of this one. But look at this, going straight up the river. Here comes Sneeland, got himself that gold card pulled out. There's going to be the knock. Acolyte will be able to flash away, but the damage and the aggression coming out from Unicorns of Love, just a fight for the Scuttle Crab.
I mean, Unicorns of Love are like setting themselves up right now as one of the best teams tactically and even execution-wise in this tournament. Their early games have been impeccable. You can see ZachQ and Grizzly are now going to rotate up to ensure that we have a double Scuttle start for Phaton. You can see that the team are kind of playing around him. I imagine because of this Lulu pick, oh my gosh.
Oh, Rui's going in for it. Sneeland's got to be careful here. He's going to be very aggressive. There's the exhaust going down and Phaton coming through. Now, if he can catch that axe, doesn't matter. They're going to back away from that one. He's going to clear out the wards in the same process, and Sneeland safe to back away.
Unicorns of Love, and this strategy very much revolves around a strong Olaf, the Olaf-Lulu combo. I'm sure back in your league casting days you would have seen this combo used. I have very distinct memories of Dyrus playing this on TSM.
Jeez, that's going back some years.
Yeah, that really is. And so, you know, I think this is a very, like a combination that is basically as old as time, realistically. I love that Acolyte's going in here. Doesn't have the ultimate to really punish Coldstar too much. But overall, you should be able to find the 1v1 advantage versus a Lulu in this laning phase.
I've got to be honest, Coldstar came out on top of it.
He did, because that was the minions that did the majority.
Yeah. I mean, with double cannon minion, that's a risky move to try and go for it there. So, but he's just trying to make sure he can do it and do it over again, and he will punish Coldstar if he keeps trying this one. That's why we're seeing Phaton coming up here to try and maybe bait something out, see whether Coldstar can go away. They realise what's happening. The Destiny comes through. The gold card goes out there. The damage is through, but he's not got the vision in the bush, and he isn't going to have the support, but that may well equate to a lot of tower pressure. We already see Grizzly Q covering off the mid turret as well.
Yep, but they have unfortunately left ZachQ on a bit of an island. Now it is a Xayah. She does have that ultimate available, can root under tower 2. And you see, they know that he's there. Andre just soaked the damage. Ruiz is trying to push this lane in.
He's got full Featherstorm ready to go as well. Look at ZachQ, he's loaded up. Now the question is, can they punish? They come through and it is going to be a 4-man dive on the turret, but they are very tanky with Grizzly Q being in there on the Brahmi. Doesn't have the Fissure available just yet though, and it is perfectly executed by Queso.
That was a really well played dive. You responded to the pressure that Unicorns of Love put into the top side of the map. It was a great read from Acolyte to understand that he was in danger in that situation, and they committed so many resources, Unicorns of Love, to a very heavy top lane tier 1 dive that did not go their favor. They barely even got the first plate of the game, and they responded by committing members where they knew that Unicorns of Love were weakest. It is a Infernal Drake, though, to kick things off. This will be interesting to see.
And it would have been such a different fight had Grizzly Q now just hit level 5 and would have had that Glacial Fissure available. If didn't have it, would have stopped the fight, but it does mean it's available for the Dragon fight, and this could be the first team fight we see.
I don't know if Team Queso are even interested in fighting this. You can see Rift Herald has become a target. Whether Memorize can just try and steal this or try and threaten a steal with his ultimate, maybe going for Rift Herald into top lane tier 1 take at this point. It does look like Team Queso did not have the right setup for this objective, and it will be the Rift Herald they're trying to secure, but it's slow. It is slow. You are right here.
Are they going to try and push up and challenge? I think they're going to be a little too late to the party. Ruiz will indeed also put a lot of damage down on this turret, so the Rift Herald will go down. So that is going to be traded across. Objectives sort of given, but it is Queso that coming out on top with a 1,500 gold advantage as Phaton goes in, gets a little pull, but the damage is not enough.
And they also picked up the first tier tower on the top side of the map, so that's first turret of the game picked up, and that allows them to be a bit more flexible with that use of the Rift Herald. That now may allow them to create pressure for the second dragon. It may allow them to open up that mid lane tier 1. Team Queso definitely approaching this early game in a stronger spot than we saw Rick's. I mean, Unicorns of Love are running this Death Ball style comp again. Yeah. They've just given up this mid lane.
They're chasing the game this time. They haven't got that big entrance, the hero's entrance to get in and help out. There's the Destiny. Stealing comes through. Does manage to get the card onto Exhaust there, and as he tries to get away onto Exhaust, he is exhausted. Ibu, apologies, was exhausted throughout that one. Did go down, but in terms of objectives, it will be the Rift Herald that will take this tower out.
Almost. I mean, Unicorns of Love, they're playing a similar style to they did in the first game, but Rix, they're not getting baited into it like... Sorry, not Rix. Team Queso are not getting baited into it like Rix did. Rix were getting baited into trying to force the 4v5s when this rolling death squad of Unicorns of Love roamed across the map. Team Queso are like, fair enough, we're going to 1-3-1. we're going to have Diana top lane, we're going to have Camille bot lane. Yeah, fine. Try and find a little individual pick where you can as a roaming death ball, but we're going to soak experience and soak gold in the side lanes, and we're going to pick up the towers as well. So that has put Team Queso in a really strong spot at 6 minutes into the game. 4,000 gold lead in their favor. This is completely different to what we saw the Unicorns of Love versus Rix.
How are they going to pull themselves out of this? You can see they want to try to use Sneeland as the off push. You can see side lanes trying to work it out there. They haven't got, obviously, what they were using Sneeland before with that Galio, so he can come in with a similar style as the Destiny, but very much red, and doesn't give that massive crowd control that they did have with the Galio before with the Hero's Entrance.
Yeah, and it's very single target focus this time round. And actually the way that Team Queso are playing the game, they're actually not wanting to team fight in the slightest.
Yeah.
They're saying, nope, Camille, much better in a 1v1. Diana, really good in a 1v1. We have strong solo laners. We're going to push to the side lanes. You could try your best to force a team fight, but as you correctly mentioned, the engage is not as strong this time around for Unicorns of Love. Their engage relies on a very angry Viking running at you, being boosted by the Lulu, but it's not the same as that flash engage from the Gragas. It's not the same as the Galio's Hero's Entrance. So there isn't, also the Rakan, who was a really integral part of the engage that came through from Unicorns of Love last time. They don't have that same kind of level of engage this time, and you can see it's struggling. They're struggling to have that big team fight coordination that they're able to find versus Rix, because the draft is a lot weaker when it comes to forcing the issue.
And again, they try and focus it, and it almost feels like they're chasing it. You can see they keep doing that 4-man grouping, but it's just not something they can deal with, because every time they group together, they are chasing. They have to back away. They have to cover the side lanes off. Yes, they got obviously Sneeland covering the one side, but as you mentioned, they've got a double push going on with both Ruiz and Acolyte shoving in them waves, keeping them down their throat, keeping them under pressure. And that 4,000 gold lead is not going away, and the Dragon will be coming up.
Yeah, they gave up the Infernal Dragon, so that is not the best Dragon to lose. In fact, I'd say it's the worst Dragon to lose. But I really love that Team Queso didn't throw the kitchen sink at it. They just said, that's fine. We'll take the other objective. The reason that Rift Herald was brought back to 4 minutes was to create some more diversity around that first objective fight, and I really love that Team Queso have bought into that and allowed themselves to accelerate the game through pure tower pressure rather than having to run it down for a team fight at Dragon.
I'm seeing grouping from Queso. Here comes Camille, here comes Ruiz, both heading towards the mid, looking to see if they can maybe draw something out here. The Dragon perfectly timed. There it comes, and they want the fight for the Ocean Drake.
I don't actually think their team fight is bad either. They've got really strong 1-3-1 in terms of strong solo laners, but their team fight is not bad in the slightest.
They're going to try and push top turret and trade for it. Yeah, they're ignoring the Dragon, then it's going to go straight for the tier 1 turret. But look at this. They're going to take both objectives, maybe 3 objectives. They've got the Drake. They're going for the tier 1 turret. They're pushing for the tier 2s.
They had the waves to work with in mid and bot. Like, it was not a sensible decision from Unicorns of Love, because they weren't reading the waves properly, and Team Queso are now going to pick up a tier 2 on the bot side of the map. The engage tries to rush in.
There's 5v3. There's no way they can fight this one. They've come rushing in all too late. Sneeland comes teleporting in with the Destiny, but it's just not enough. Andre will get himself one down. The Hextech ultimatum comes onto Zach Q. They do back away in the end as the support does arrive. There's the gold card going down. The Olaf will catch onto it. Andre low, but there's just nothing to lock them down. Acolyte will simply say, get the hell away from me. Walk away, and Andre with nothing. But it is a 1-for-1 trade, 2-for-1 trade, sorry, but they got the tier 2 turret. And the Dragon.
The integral part of that, by the way, is that Phaeton is all of their damage in teamfight.
Yeah.
He's the guy that needs to be boosted by Lulu, supported by Braum. He's the person that's supposed to be ripping through that front line with his true damage in the mid game. He wasn't there at the start of the fight. That might have been different if he was there at the start of the fight, but a really excellently chosen engage from Team Queso. They find themselves 4,000 gold in the lead. They have a couple of extra objectives traded for that top lane tier 1 too. Team Queso looking confident around the Baron. Pings are coming through. You can see very different story for Unicorns of Love this time round. The vision control is not as good. They are desperate in their own jungle a little more than they were previously, and they're being caught out. That roaming death ball style that they played versus Rix is being picked apart by the fact that we've got a 1-3-1 going on. Like, how can you team fight when you've just got these 2 solo laners threatening your inhibitor towers, threatening your towers in the side lane?
I'm getting flashbacks of like Season 3 Worlds right now, of when Korea turned up and showed us really how to play League of Legends. And it was very much that control style. We were looking for fights as the European, North American teams, the Western world. And Korea were just like, it's about objectives, guys. That's how you win games. And that's right now what is going on with Queso. They got the objectives, and now they're looking for the fights in and around there. But while they do that, the pressure's still being applied. The waves are still being shoved in. So while they're keeping the pressure on Unicorns of Love, they're throttling away the vision. They're taking everything away from around that Baron. And look at that. Look, the waves pushing in the middle, trying to keep that pressure on the tower. Unicorns of Love, they have to go and deal with this.
And Baron is obviously going to be something that you're a little concerned about now if you're Unicorns of Love, because that becomes even more strong if you're trying to execute a 1-3-1 properly. They are going to disengage. They've got a lot of strong disengage with both Andre and Memorized here. And Unicorns of Love can't find these fights. They don't have the Galio, the flash body slam. They don't have the flash grand entrance from the Rakan. They can't find the engages on their terms, and that is a problem for them. They could do it versus Rix. And I'm sure Rix will be watching this game thinking, if we just take away engage tools from Unicorns of Love, is that a problem for them?
And that right there was prime example. Unicorns of Love, 5-man, we're gonna push him, we're gonna bully you, full CIS style, we're gonna brute force away into that mid lane, bang, explosive cast, go away. And that was it.
Yep.
Wave dealt with. What are you gonna do? You're gonna dive 4 of us under a tower? No, you're not. Go away.
I mean, like I said, Unicorns of Love's entire strategy is around grouping people up and just giving Angry Man a giant pixie and saying, go hit people with your axe. That is how they play these fights. They don't have agency. We like to talk about agency in League of Legends, like the ability to make decisions on your terms. They don't really have that versus Team Queso.
They may try and catch one out off guard here, though. Destiny does come out. That's been drawn and actually, I would say, almost baited by Acolyte there, just removing that ability for Sneelan to join the fight. He comes across and makes the 5-man death ball. And look at this. Immediately, Acolyte's like, I'm going to go back to deal with my waves now. Thanks.
Well, that's a really important point, actually, that you raised there, Demon. Sneelan that doesn't have his Destiny now means those side lanes are a lot weaker to what Team Queso have been trying to do this entire game. Now no longer can you have Sneelan wave clear duty on a side lane.
Memorize is looking for a gank around the side. Not going to happen. He was trying to bait someone across. Look at Andre. Andre was the one pushing the wave. They're trying to bait something in there. So Queso want to create a situation right now where they can fight it on their terms, knowing that Destiny is not available. Still, by the way, long away. Now Sneelan comes back. He's been back to buy, gets the gold card onto Memorize. On the support, not the ideal thing. Now they're still looking for it. But as you mentioned earlier on, there's just a lack of engage. And here is Queso taking yet another Drake away unanswered.
I mean, Sneeland was basically looking for the rapid-fire gold card there. You saw that he had a very long-range gold card. The third item that usually gets picked up by Twisted Fates is that rapid-fire cannon. He's picked it up as his third item after the Lich Bane. That might be a way to try and isolate members, but it's not a long enough stun, and I still don't think they have that immediate follow-up that they need from Unicorns of Love to ensure. There is a fight coming out here, though.
The pressure coming through, and it's a 4v3, but now here comes the Olaf around the backside. That's what they were looking for. Phaton to come around the side. Memorize taken low, but look at this. The Wild Growth comes through, and maybe, just maybe, they find an angle, but that was very much engaged. Look how quickly Queso disengaged from the fight.
I mean, Queso, I actually still don't think Team Queso can teamfight properly. I think if you let Cold Star and Phaton in the same fight at the same time, this Olaf is still going to rip through you. That true damage is very strong at dealing with the squishier targets, and then there is not a single tanky target on Team Queso. I mean, look at this. They were trying to go in. That Braum Unbreakable was absolutely nutty. Grizzly Q bought so much time for his team, and even though Phaton was isolated and almost taken down, Cold Star with the Wild Growth eventually kept him safe. Like, Lulu Olaf is not something to be sniffed at. You have to be a little bit concerned. And something that makes Olaf a little stronger than I think on his PC counterpart is his Reckless Strikes is AoE.
They're going to go for Sneelan. Sneelan used the flash there to get away from Acolyte, making sure he doesn't get locked down. Also just got a glimpse of Memorize having to dash into the Baron pit there. He was getting locked down by Unicorns of Love. So really fighting for that vision in and around the pit right now. Phaton, that would be a beautiful target if they could try and focus that. That's a dangerous duo. Riven and Diana for Acolyte and Riaz. That could put a lot of damage down, but it will force away.
I think one of the problems that Team Queso is finding right now is, and you're starting to see some of the limitations that some teams are facing when it comes to split pushing, is they can't really push much further than these tier 2 towers in these side lanes before they have to like peel back and think about other objectives. They at some point will need to team fight. So at some point, they're going to have to play into Unicorns of Love game. Unicorns of Love will eventually have a situation where it is a 5-on-5, everyone's grouped up, and Cold Star will be there to support Phaton in the team fights. And Schneeland is a really good late-game scaling carry in the Twisted Fate, and you have, obviously, Zach Q on the Xayah that keeps himself safe for a good few seconds with his ultimate. And unfortunately, Team Queso have been trying to play this split push game and are coming to the harsh reality that it is very difficult to play split push properly in Wild Rift.
There is some very good knock-up as well with, obviously, the Glacial Fisher, which we've seen Grizzly Q landing pretty well so far already. They're going looking for it. The Destiny card's coming in. Andre was the focus, does get the stun down. Have they got enough to lock him down? No. He will use everything, and that is the danger, of course. Gets that flash down there. The Ragnarok was burnt out by Phaeton, but nothing was gained.
But you do have Acolyte in the side lane here. We have just seen Destiny used, but unfortunately, with the peel back here from Unicorns of Love, Acolyte not able to push onto that inhibitor tower and still struggling with a real split push threat at this point in time.
I would say it's very frustrating for the Unicorns of Love right now because they really want to fight. They've been trying to chase it, trying to force it. This is, I think in Wild Rift terms, this is a long game.
This is a long game. Yeah. We're heading into real late game territory. I genuinely think that you're looking at a frustrating game for both teams, though. Team Queso want inhibitor towers. They want to have free time in the side lanes to look for inhibitor towers. They can't do that right now.
Baron triggered. Just a little peek on that. You can see Unicorns Love making sure they get that vision down there. Very much split once again. I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out. I can see Ruiz once again and Sneeden just very close to one another. The one thing is that Sneeden very good at wave clear. There's no doubt about it. He can get across, wave clear. And speaking of wave clear, Unicorns Love are doing a very, very good job of keeping them away from these two turrets.
Absolutely. I think at some point, if you're playing on Team Queso's side, either Acolyte or Ruiz has got to pull the trigger and go for a 1v1.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're never going to get enough pressure in the side lane to actually execute on what you're attempting to do through a split push wing condition. Now we have a Elder Mountain Drake. This is where Unicorns of Love can strike. The hammer will be hot. There is going to be a 5v5 team fight on the cards for them. And they are actually...
They're coming straight in. They're coming straight in. Memorize is going to be the front man. He's trying to keep them up guard. There's the Unbreakable coming out from Grizzly Q. Could be crucial. That not being available is a big shield for them to use. The Dragon was started out, but has immediately been pulled away from because they realized the fight was happening. It's Ruiz the focus they're trying to go for.
That was a big ulti.
The big target. The Glacial Fissure catches them down, but where's the damage going to get applied? You can see everybody going gold, trying to avoid the damage. Andre getting soaking so low. One man's down. Ruiz gets picked off. It's a massive fight for the Unicorns of Love. The revive will come through, but he will surely get locked back down there. Acolyte goes. It's a 3-0. A huge fight, and just what the Unicorns were looking for.
And they needed that. That was exactly where they wanted to strike. Eventually, Team Queso had to team fight because of these big objectives that they had to pay attention to. Big death timers. They're pushing straight down mid here.
They got all four in the end. I didn't see the fourth man fall, and they may well be able to finish the game right here. They're just going to shove it down their throat. 20 seconds on the death timers, and the Unicorns of Love, they played it to perfection. They waited, they resisted, and they have beaten Team Queso, the #2 team from Europe. #1 and #2 both fall. Incredible performance from the Unicorns of Love.
Look at them. They're absolutely ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic, and they deserve it. Again, honestly, Queso